My name is Tari, and here are 10 takeaways that I've learned as a sex coach for the last 10 years. Number 1, if you ask a woman what her sex drive is, you're very likely to hear an expression that women love to use, and that is, it depends. Everything depends on everything, but in this particular instance, it's probably very valid. It depends on who she's with, on who she's having sex with, and whether she's doing it by herself or with a partner, or she's reminiscing on a previous partner. A lot goes into this. Women usually are unclear about what their sex drive is because sometimes they find themselves more aroused, more turned on when they're by themselves than when they're with their partner. I know it's not easy to hear, but it is true. And often women remember themselves as having a higher sex drive, not just because they were younger, but in previous interactions and previous men that they've had sex with, they usually feel a lot more excited when they think about it or remember themselves being much more sexual. Number 2, her sex drive is probably higher than yours. And I believe, with everything I've learned, that as a general rule, women's sex drives are significantly higher than men's. And I know what you're thinking. How could this be? Men are so visual, they're obsessed with sex, they think about it all the time, it's what they want. Possibly. But when it comes to actually having great sex, tell me, who's moaning louder? Who's opening her body up into the most wild positions? Who wants to lose herself in the moment and be swept away in an intense experience? Who orgasms harder? Who orgasms more times? Who has a more visceral, sheet-grabbing experience? Is it men? Do you see men doing much more than this and like barely sputtering out an orgasm or just making a tiny peep of a noise when they come? Women, to me, are much more sensual and much more sexual, but it's all about how do you bring that side out in them? And as I often say in previous episodes, women respond in kind. That means they are in tune to what you do and what you say, how you're feeling. And if they feel nervous or insecure to let that sexual side of them out, they're never going to do it with you if you have judgment, if you come too quickly, or if you have sex with them and touch them in a way that they find really unattractive. Number 3, and this one is still a bit of a mystery to me. Couples will wait, not weeks, not months, not years, but sometimes decades to get their sex life handled. Usually the woman finally can't handle it anymore and she wants to break free or have better sex or make her husband learn about how her body works, but you've got tens of thousands of hours and patterns repeating over and over and over again, doing the same old thing. And why does this happen? I know we get swept up with life. I know, you have kids and days go by and one day bleeds into another, but you really don't want to let decades go by. I'm not shaming anyone who has. It's my life's work to work with people who've gone through this. I understand it. I have a lot of empathy for it, but it still is always not just shocking, but it saddens me to see that much of your life and all of the good years have gone by, that you're not orgasming the way you want or having the kinds of sexual experiences the way you want because he doesn't want to do this or that, or he's uneasy, or he won't talk about it, or this person shuts down, or you shut down, or you don't express yourself, or time after time after time, you just go into a certain state when you're sexually intimate instead of exploring different options. I know this may sound crazy, and I know this may not be you, but many women could have sex daily or be sexually intimate without any issue. And if that sounds like too much, many women can still do it every other day, but it has to be in the right circumstances. You might be involved with someone where you're feeling like, oh my God, to be expected to do this or an obligation to do that. But if you were feeling wonderful or ecstatic or great in your body, you might feel very differently. Number 4, men aren't the only ones who are visual creatures. Women are very, very visual. And yes, it matters. Shoulders, chest, body, abs, legs, back. It matters to women, but they don't televise it and they don't telegraph it. So when they're saying, I just want a nice guy who da-da-da-da-da, he takes care of me, or he does this, or he makes me laugh and makes me smile, they're not talking about any nice guy. They're talking about a sexually attractive man to them. And once that is fulfilled, once they feel sexual attraction or they're drawn to the way they look, then all of those things matter and come into play. All right, number 5. If you're a man, your female partner may not be attracted to you for a variety of reasons that aren't just physical. And the good news is here, and the win for men is that can change based on your attitude, your actions, and your behaviors. So while women are in fact visual creatures as well, their sexual attraction can be influenced by your energy, how you carry yourself, your level of dominance, confidence, masculinity, whether you're too macho and aggressive or too soft and weak, and often her seeing you in an environment that's sexually attractive from a distance will change the way she feels about you in the moment, because women's emotions and feelings are often in flux. So men, it's more important for us to be extremely aware of how we're behaving. Are we being babies? Are we being too placating and generous and just, oh, whatever you want, I'll do. Just tell me. Whatever makes you happy, I'll do it, which is not always what women want. All right, number 6, women are often more open to talking about sex than you think, and they're usually the ones who will initiate conversations about it. It might be subtle, and it's not going to sound like, listen, Bill, I need to talk to you about sex, and there's something wrong, and here's what it is, and here's how we fix it. But they usually broach the conversation very easily. Another part of number 6 is that everyone shuts down, and pretty badly, when it comes to sexual critique or criticism. Nobody likes to be told that something about the way they are sexually, which is very personal to us, is not attractive or not likable to our partner. But especially for men, and especially for couples who are quote unquote happily married, most women believe that they get along in all these other areas, but when it comes to sexual communication, men shut down hard. I do think it's a two-way street for how women do convey it, because women can be a little bit scathing and biting. I think passive aggressiveness is a very, very common trait in women. And so offhanded, flippant comments can sometimes be read as being very offensive. However, it's possible that your man is always taking things as criticism. He's always hearing it, that there's something he's not doing or there's something wrong and you don't like the way he's doing it. Now, as women, you may not feel like you're being offensive, and I do think it helps to talk to a professional to see who's saying what and how they're taking it. If a woman says to a man, what you're doing is hurting me, and a man gets pissed off and upset and thinks he can't do everything right, well, do you want your wife to be in pain, and should she not vocalize when she's feeling that way? Now, if she's constantly saying, not like this, not like that, I don't like this, I don't like that, and never showing what she actually does like, then maybe it falls on her to be a little more demonstrative of that. Number 7, I want you to hear this very interesting distinction. Do women enjoy sex with their partners? The ones who don't are for a very specific reason. They're with good guys who verbally say, I want to please you. I want you to feel good. I want to make you come first, or I want to satisfy you. But then their actions are extremely selfish. Their behavior demonstrates that they're going to do the same thing every time, something prescriptive, something that just follows the same pattern they've always done, or they're trying to get it in as quickly as possible. And these things go hand in hand. They're either trying to get a finger in there, stick something in, they're not being a good lover. And what does it take to become one? Listening to videos like this, studying, practice, being very present and patient. How does that selfishness play itself out? Sometimes men finish inside their partners without asking whether she's okay with it or not. Something happens in a lot of men's minds where they start treating women like objects. And we've heard that expression a lot, so let me define it further. They basically think that they're with a fuck toy, that they can do what they want, that as long as they're feeling good and getting theirs, that everything is fine. And then, here you go, babe, here's a vibrator or a dildo, make yourself feel good, or let me eat you out beforehand so you can get yours, then I can get mine. This is not sex. This is manual stimulation of genitals that does not lead to closeness in any part of a relationship. It's so interesting because if you talk to men, they'll often say, I love my wife, or I care about her so much, or she's so beautiful to me, or I do anything for her. But then in those real intimate moments, when she said to you, I don't like my nipples being played with, I've had 1 or 2 or 5 kids, and they're overstimulated. I do like them kissed or licked or sucked on or something like that, but stop pinching them. You know, I teach a concept called men should help themselves in relationship with women who are not getting enough sex, with women who are highly sexual and the man's not sure, he's careful, he's too cautious, but you shouldn't be helping yourself ever to a woman's body for things that she hates or doesn't like. How does that make any sense? But men keep doing it and doing it and doing it all over again. Number 8, she's likely had better sex before you. And this is another hard pill to swallow. These are some of the admissions and confessions that happen behind closed doors. She's had better sex with other people, and that's not something that you really can say to your husband. It's not something you can say to your wife either if you've had better sex with other women. Nobody wants to hear that. But they're comparing. As much as women don't like to be compared, women are always comparing how it was in the past, how it was when I was with this person or that person, how it made them feel because it was exciting or hot or unique or passionate or it spiked their emotions. As men in relationship, we are at a disadvantage and we need to work extra hard to be able to please women, because it's not just, I do this, I do this, I do this, and then she's good. You can do that and it works for a week, a month, a year, or even 10 years, but at some point you're going to have to switch up your routine. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't take much. I cannot believe, what I would call scraps that women accept from men when they make the tiniest of change. They just look at them a little bit different or touch them a little bit more or give them a little kiss. And they're so thrilled to be getting a little bit more attention. I don't recommend doing the bare minimum, but I am saying that it doesn't take much. Number 9, women are frustrated at men's unwillingness to grow. What is the problem sexually? The man's doing the same old thing and he's not taking any action. He's not calling me. He's not scheduling an appointment. He's not studying videos or books or doing things to fix their relationship. I do know that this flies in the face of some men who do everything they can and their wife still won't have sex with them, and that is a different subject. But so often, for whatever reason, the people who come into my office tend to be very sexually frustrated women who have men who don't take initiative, or they have lack of confidence or lack of drive. They don't treat them the way they did in the beginning. Number 10, and this is a really big one that ties everything in, men get frustrated that their female partner doesn't initiate, but the female partner is responsible for all of the caregiving, the child rearing, taking care of everything around the house. And if sex already isn't a very enjoyable experience for them, or if they're not just having an orgasm or even not having an orgasm at all, or not enjoying the sexual process, what exact incentive is there for a woman to initiate sex? Why would she go out of her way to reach out to make you feel good if you're only lasting a few minutes, if sex isn't enjoyable, or if you're going through the same old rigmarole instead of learning some new skills? The saying tends to be true, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I find that you can certainly practice and make little adjustments. I've never come across a woman who wants to do everything herself in bed. Hasn't happened. Have I had one-off experiences like that? Have I had experiences where a woman wants to climb on top and do everything herself? Absolutely. But I'm still an active participant. I don't just lay there. I don't expect her to do all the work. If you're with a man, or you are a man who races to orgasm as quickly as you can, and then you leave her to clean up the mess, or really you want to give her pleasure, but every single time you just can't help yourself and you're rushing to the finish line, there needs to be a change in your relationship. Now, I didn't expect all of these to turn out as such tough love, and I think I could easily do a part 2 and a part 3 and 4 on subjects like this, but all of these things come into play, and often men don't even think about it. It doesn't come into our field of awareness. I want to remind you again that you might be listening to this and you may be the polar opposite of some of the men I described. And again, you're with a woman who doesn't want to have sex with you for some reason and she's very frustrated or defensive, or she puts her guard up. That requires other layers to unravel, and we will be doing that in future episodes. In any case, thank you for your time, thank you for watching, and have a great day.